Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. My name is Danny De Lillo and I'm delighted to have one of our amazing filmmakers of our film festival in August 2020, Auden, who created Zorg II. Hey Auden.
Hi.
And for those that haven't seen Zorg II, let's take a look at a clip.
Galaxy.
Auden, I'm delighted that you're here with us because you're in Iowa. So we've made this connectivity through this virtual platform and during this time. So I'm delighted we can make it work.
Likewise.
For those that haven't seen Zorg II, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
So it's about an alien that comes to Earth in hopes of starring in a science fiction film, which the alien, believes they will be well suited to. And it's a hand-drawn and collage animation. So it's a lot of mixed media and sort of experimental techniques, but it's a narrative film.
It's brilliant. Like, it's really cool. And why wouldn't an alien want to come down to Earth and be in a sci-fi film? I loved it. It was a really great idea, like really, really unique. I think often enough we have, the idea of aliens coming down, never to become a star, which I thought was just brilliant, and really, really creative. And I was really amazed at your talent. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know how this must have taken a long time to create and to make. I was just like looking at all the little intricate moments that you create together. Before we kind of get into more detail, where did the inspiration come for you in creating this particular project?
I guess it came from a few things. I mean, just in terms of what I was doing at the time, I was working on pre-production for a kind of more serious and sort of stylistically monochromatic kind of film.
Yeah.
And I guess it was just getting nowhere, and I was going on a trip and I was getting very frustrated. So I sort of scribbled the first draft of the storyboard on the back of an airplane barf bag. And it's sort of,
Love it.
that was sort of the energy that I kind of carried through, was just trying to do something that was more fun, that was more spur of the moment. I think it's such a big problem for me, especially in animation, but also for other animators, is to keep the energy, because there is sort of a direct translation, I think, between the sort of artistic energy and the final output. So to not make a very boring and tedious process also be boring and tedious for the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of it. And yeah.
I honestly did not find it boring and tedious. I actually was, because I was amazed, because it's not often you see a film of your sort, an animation of your style with such length, because I thought, wow, a lot of work has gone in. 22 minutes, which is, I know a lot of work has gone into that. And secondly, I kind of left like I still wanted more, which was great. I was like, this could be a series, this could be so many things. I love that you just mentioned that, because I'm always fascinated about, particularly animators who have such a, interesting ideas and minds. Like, you wrote this in the back of an airport bath bag. I mean, how fantastic is that? Like, if you got a creative idea, you're like, I'm going to do this right here, right now. How is your process for you? Like, when you're, because again, there's so much more to think about as an animator. How long is your process for kind of creating your story and your script usually?
Yeah. I mean, I think it varies a lot from project to project. I think this one, I did arrive at something kind of ideal, because there is so much, you're creating it out of nothing. I've been making live action films recently, and it's sort of a different process, because it's, you have a world in front of you. But I think I really sort of stumbled upon a way of, starting with really thinking about structure kind of intensively for a while, and then sort of going down from there, but in a way that, I knew what would have to happen in each scene.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't just like I laid out the whole thing and then went straight ahead and just plugged frame after frame. It was sort of like, okay, this month I'm getting to animate this scene, and like, and getting to dive into each one, sort of, and keeping the sort of fresh artistic decisions all the way down the line. So, you know, now I get to, I don't know from the outset how I'm going to compose each shot, but you know, each day maybe I'll get to do a bunch of compositional drawings. So that part is creative. And then within each shot, I'll be like, well, I need a background for this, and I need, say, a couch. And then I look on my floor at all the different, you know, paper clippings that are everywhere, and I say, well, here's a nose and here's this. So I think finding a way to really keep it highly organized in the sense that I know what I'm doing at each time, but also making that organization based around like artistic opportunities or just sort of creative decisions that get to be made along the way.
Yeah.
That's the fun thing.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite parts of it is this sort of this car chase. Like, I was like, oh my goodness. And the funny thing about it is that like, I forgot I was watching animation. I found this very, very intense. Like it was really intense and brilliant and really well articulated. And I was so impressed as well. I mean, you know, again, there's so many more things you have to think about as an animator. And I thought your sound design was excellent. I thought your soundtrack was excellent. Tell us a bit more about that journey and how that is for you as an animator and incorporating, you know, the sounds, because, you know, it was brilliant. The sound design was brilliant. And so was the soundtrack that covered it through as well.
Yeah, that was one of the most pleasant surprises for me. I actually worked with a sound designer, Mclean, when I came back to the States. I'm in Iowa right now, so I came back to Iowa. And I actually found him on Craigslist, of all places. I was just like, I need a sound designer. I could do it myself, maybe, but you know, I'm not trained in that. And he was just the most dedicated person to the task. He hadn't done a ton of films before then, but you know, I probably worked with him pretty closely for about 6 months on it. Just trying all sorts of different things. He recorded a lot of Foley, multiple voice acting sessions with different voice actors. So working with him was great, and it was just such a, you know, the sound is really what makes an animation or maybe any film really come alive in a way. And it's especially pleasing when you're not doing it yourself, because, you know, you put all this labor into the picture, you have picture lock, and then suddenly someone returns it to you and it's like, oh my God, the thing I made, you know, has some flesh and bones in it. And, you know, if you do it yourself, you get it in like little pieces, but when someone else shows it to you, it's like sudden shock of, wow, it's alive.
And it's amazing what they see from your work and how that gets incorporated, and they use, you know, their talents and skills. And no, but it really, I was like, it was very significant to, you know, every scene that you set for us. And it just works so well together. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't always work, but I felt like it was like a perfect fit. Now, obviously, one of the scenes I found really eerie as well, like it was eerie to me, which was, you know, when they're all around the table, the conference table, and, you know, I was just like, oh, like it was for me in a great way, because I was enjoying it so much. It was uncomfortable. What did you kind of want people to feel? Like, I'm just curious, because you created this atmosphere, this vibe that was brilliant. And I was like, oh, really interesting. The fact that you obviously returned to it at the end as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of the film, I mean, everything it's sourced from, all the, I mean, I guess you can think of the film in a way as kind of a big collage.
It is.
It's a collage, you know, literally in terms of all the backgrounds being things that are sourced from junk mail, from, you know, basically the refuse of whatever, capitalism kind of. And then also a collage in terms of, you know, genres and cliches. You know, I kind of designed the alien character is sort of the most prototypical normal looking alien. It's like, what does an alien have? It has 3 eye stalks, of course. So just kind of take the cliche and just run with it. And, you know, what's the detective going to be? Of course, he's going to be this, like, you know, very deft noir blur kind of thing. And then I guess I guess I kind of wanted to have this sense of like a kind of, you know, this sort of sinister force that was sort of controlling the whole thing, in terms of like being kind of like a satire, sort of having this this sort of presumptuous egomania that, like,
it's brilliant,
that we would all the aliens in the world, in the universe, would want to flock to Earth in order to you know, make some money in Hollywood kind of thing.
No, I love it because the world you created for us. Like, I actually, one of my notes was, Auden, was, I'd love to be inside your brain when making this film, because it was like, you just took us into a world, and I was just fascinated by the moments. And, you know, I think utilizing that, it's funny how certain cliches that we obviously all have kind of similar cliches and understand there was stereotypes of aliens or detectives and such, but it was funny because it was probably playing on my own brain, own subconscious. So, you know, you took us into a world, which was great. I loved it. Now, obviously, I'm curious to know from your perspective in this film, what was the biggest challenge you had in making it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I never really studied character animation, or, you know, really in the actual craft of animation. So I think, you know, there's a pretty steep learning curve in terms of that. I had done mostly experimental animation or rotoscoping projects. This was the first time I was sort of, you know, doing what you might call, like, you know, kind of more classical animation. So I think learning how to do that well was one of the biggest challenges, I think.
Yeah.
But it also kept it interesting because it was, you know, learning as I went.
Yeah, no, definitely. What's it kind of, because, you know, again, I think one of the great things about, you know, animation that's so distinctive, is that everyone's got a different style. And I love seeing that. So how has it been for you? I know in this particular time, but how has it been? What was it like to, you know, have your film? Certainly we loved having it at New Filmmakers LA. What's it like since you've been, you know, sharing it around to different places? What's the reaction been for you?
It's been great. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I mean, I guess one of the things is, I really like to have sort of I guess this sort of goes back to what I was saying before about, I really like to have the energy of creating the thing translate into sort of the energy that the audience experiences as well. So the kind of creative rush I get from combining two images in a collage is hopefully something that the audience gets. And I think that having people say that really came through, and also having people who say that, you know, they want to see it again. Like there's kind of, it's too dense to really take in one thing. But I mean, it's not like the kind of movie that you need to watch twice to understand, but it's the kind of movie you want to watch twice in order to kind of get more of those little juicy nuggets out of it. So
yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I wanted juicy nuggets, but also I think, you know, when you've created a world for us to kind of be in, like, you know, I think it's also a compliment to you because people want more of it. You know, it's like, please take me back to this world, you know? Speaking of which, I mean, is there any plans to extend this story, or what's next for you?
I would love to. I mean, it would be cool to, I think if I were to do that, I would love to work with more people.
Yeah.
And to, you know, have people to help me with it, because, you know, it was a long and arduous process for one person, obviously sound designers and musicians aside, but it would be great to work with other people. I've been making live action films the last few years. And, you know, I'm not to say that I've kind of converted completely to that world, but one thing I really like about that is working with other people and working with different creative energies. That was what was so great about working with an excellent sound designer like Michael too. So I think, you know, combining that energy of working together on a live action to the somewhat lonely world for me of animation would be ideal.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, essentially it's nice because also the more people you have, the more you can concentrate on what you want to concentrate on in, you know, your job as well. So that's also important. You know, I'm so fascinated by, you know, again, by the, you know, your talent and the world you created. And I'm just curious if you have any advice out there for anybody that kind of, that is maybe an animator, maybe wants to start an animation project, like anything that you've learned in your experience thus far as a filmmaker that you could share with the audience.
Yeah, I mean, for animation, I think a lot of the animations I'm inspired by are ones where I feel a little sense of like, that's amazing, but also I could do that. And so I think either just to be kind of honestly look at the thing and be like, is it good or not? And to be able to say, like, if it's good, make it really good. If it's not good, then just own it's not being good so hard that it becomes an artistic choice.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Well, I mean, I think the most exciting thing is that, you know, you kind of, it's nice. I mean, you're creating this experience for us, and you never know sometimes what you're gonna give us until you know, go through the journey itself, you know, which is great. Well, keep making more movies for us, whether it be live action or animation. And well done to you and to your team, and thank you for bringing it to us, and welcome to the New Filmmakers family, so to speak. So,
yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Auden, Zorg II, there may be more Zorgs coming your way. We don't know yet. We'll see if Auden blesses us with that. But thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.